And it doesn't always have to be doom and gloom. It'll be a meeting such as this where I'll come in and disseminate any information, which is not a problem. Then there'll be a safety meeting with all the block captains and a topic of the neighborhood's choice, whatever's going on, and we can answer those questions. Then there'll be just a meeting that can last 10 minutes. Like at the end of the school year, I like to always disseminate information in reference to kids being in the neighborhood. Now, because most of the time people don't pay attention, they pay attention to the speeding aspect of the neighborhoods, but they don't pay attention to the volume of kids in the neighborhood. Okay, there are kids in the neighborhood, but you want to make sure that your kids are having a safe and happy summer. Or you guys are going to have a safe and happy vacation. So it won't be a problem. If there's anything going on off Concord Road that's nearby, even in college jurisdiction, I can disseminate information to you. Did I give you my email address?
Yes.
Okay. Because I know that we spoke via telephone, and I know I had everything written down. You did a good job of reminding me. I appreciate that. But that makes it easier to disseminate the information throughout everyone, so everyone makes sure that we're on the same sheet of music. And if you don't want to be a block captain, there's nothing wrong with that. We'll just sit with whatever we have. We're going to actually try to alter the, you never passed out the booklets?
No, well, those who signed up at our last We'll Get Together did get a booklet. Okay. But that's only 6.
Only 6.
Legal places.
Pretty poetry. But what we do is, as I said, I'm passing around that booklet, which is pretty much, there's a few things in there that are going to be the same, but I'm trying to alter, give you those books and bring in some more booklets. So just let me know. I'll let you guys know when we have them, and I'll meet with you and the block captains. And whatever we have, we have. I'm hoping you guys decide that you would like to be involved in that process. Even if you're not, you're still covered indirectly because of the fact that you do reside in the neighborhood. There's not a problem with that. But the best way to do these things is to make sure that your neighborhood is safe. Now, most people think that the reason why this happens, and I always know because it's the year for meetings for me. Because as soon as something happens and you get all these emails, and they're like, oh, we need a neighborhood watch. We need a neighborhood watch. And then what happens after people set in, when nothing bad happens, and then as soon as something bad happens, what are we doing? Only thing you're doing is doing more. See, I'm from New Jersey. Do not hold that against me. So, I grew up in a neighborhood. I guess the buzzword now is multicultural. But I grew up in a neighborhood that was cohesive. So if anything occurred on any portion of that neighborhood, then you knew what happened. Because word of mouth is going to travel fast. And what this promotes more, it promotes a cohesiveness because it prompts you to even talk to that neighbor that you really can't stand. Because everybody has that neighbor. You might even be that neighbor. But everybody has that neighbor they can't stand. But the difference is you have a common goal, and that common goal is safety. And it is a quid pro quo type of situation. If you're paying attention to their household, they're paying attention to yours. I give you guys a free safety tidbit. When you are going out of town for any length of time, do not stop your mail and your newspaper. Everybody want to know why. Because when you stop your mail and your newspaper, you've now told someone outside your circle you're not going to be home for any length of time. And that means that gives them ample opportunity to burglarize you. And most people think, well, I have an alarm system, and those are pretty credible, which they are. But just think about the way alarm systems work. Someone breaks into your home. They'll try the home once. No answer. They'll try it twice. No answer. They'll try it on the third time. On that third time, then they'll contact the emergency contact, and they'll contact the police. But we're thinking that's going to take at least 15 minutes. 15 minutes is an eternity when you go in the house and you see 3 plasma screen TVs. You can take those anytime that you want. And by the time we actually get there, it's 15 minutes. Because that's the way it goes. But if you paid attention, if you made sure that you told no one other than your neighbor, because your neighbor's going to be the one taking in your mail and taking your newspaper, because you'll do the same for them. They're going to do the same thing for you. So it makes it easier. And as long as you work in conjunction with each other, it makes it a lot easier to be safe in your neighborhood. Also, pay attention to detail. The unfortunate thing, this is census time of the year. So in Smyrna, if you haven't seen them already, there are census takers throughout. Now, they have identification, which identifies them, and they're going to ask you the minimum amount of prying questions. If they're asking you more, call us. Because they shouldn't be asking anything else. And just pay attention to detail. There's nothing wrong with paying attention to detail. You see something, it looks odd, it looks out of place, call 911. If you'd rather call this 770-434-666, then feel free. But in speaking to the chief in reference to this, I asked him, I said, Chief, well, what should I tell the citizens in reference to dialing 911 or the other number? He said, it's a lot easier to dial 3 digits than 10. And whenever you're in that crunch, you can remember 911. Now, if you have purchased your phone somewhere other than the Metro Smyrna area, Metro Smyrna now, that's what we call this little big, then you may need to program that 770-434-666 number in your phone as your 911 contact. Because if you do not, if you dial 911 from your phone now, if you purchased it in Florida, guess what? Goes to Florida, then it bounces to Cobb County, then it comes to Smyrna. You'd be surprised how Cobb County can't find Smyrna. It's happened. It's happened. And if you have bondage, how many of you guys have bondage? You may want to make sure that your 911 goes to Smyrna. Because we had one that was going to Forest Park. Why, I don't know. So you want to check that out. Just call 911 just to check it. I mean, they're not gonna come out and wow, what happened? Just say, well, Officer Lane said to check it. And of course, I get hate mail in the morning, but that's the nature of the beast. Exactly. But the thing about it is the fact you guys have a nice structure of a neighbor watch program, and that works well. So the only thing we're going to do now is go look through the books, and I'm pretty sure that there's going to be information in there that's the same. We'll probably change the cover, which actually will give you my contact information as well. I'll give you one of my cards. You can give them my information as far as like that. So if you guys have any questions that I didn't answer, you can contact me via email and on my telephone number, which works out well. And if you called 911, based on what I said, and someone was rude to you, someone did not render you the service needed, then I want you to take my email address. Send me an email, verbatim what this individual said or didn't say, and the time, and the chief won't be happy. He won't be happy at all. And the radio person won't be happy. I'll be okay, because it wasn't me. They might have any questions, neighborhood.
Part of this organization, when there is an incident in the neighborhood, is that reported back to all the residents or not?
It depends on what, see, this is the thing about what most people don't understand, is just, you have to also be responsible. If it's something that's domestic related, 9 times out of 10 that will happen. But if it's some type of burglary that occurs, this is what I would like to have. Do you guys have a communications officer? Or no? Okay, good. And I say good because that can mess up things. It can, but I'll tell you guys why. But anyway, if you got, what happens is this. If you actually personally see something, you witness this, I will send to your black captain, but send it throughout. CC me, because you actually personally witnessed this. But if you get like 4 or 5 parties, then I would just send the information in, and then we'll make sure everybody gets the information so we can get the real skinny of what did occur. Because the biggest thing is this: most people want misinformation, not just information. They don't want the misinformation. They want real information. If you give people misinformation, it's worse than giving them any information. That's worse than none. Because trust me, a lot of these emails, and I wanted there are a few more. Oh, here's the best one. I'm pretty sure you guys heard this. Burgundy white pickup truck, driven by 2 white males, scruffy white males, who we confirmed as meth addicts. Meth. Poor guys, we stopped them like 8 or 9 times. They actually reside in the neighborhood and they work in the neighborhood. So whoever sent out that email initially, it was sour grapes, because they didn't buke anybody out any money, they didn't do anything else. They've been in the neighborhood working for 5 years. So that didn't happen. But that's the one that actually had it. But we have meth addicts here, we should be afraid and all this thing. And that didn't happen. Anybody hear any other ones?
I have a question. Yes. I thought we were talking about that. How bad, well, there was a time a few years ago where I think Smyrna was a real big meth. Okay, let me preface this. I saw this on PBS, GPBS, whatever it is, and they were doing a special on meth, and we had this meth problem in Smyrna. This was some years ago. But let's just take that all away, because you're saying...
No, I'm going to tell you, it hasn't been. See, the difference is we are very, very vigorous in our approach in patrolling. And we have not had a meth problem in the city of Smyrna. The thing that people understand is that we have a bigger gang problem we do when it comes down to drugs.